Okay, let's look at some of the transformations. And the first one is a vertical shift. If you see f of x minus or plus d, d being a particular number, y equals f of x plus 7, for example, or minus 7. So if it is a plus d, then you're going to go up d units from what the basic graph would look like. If it's f of x minus d, then you're going to go down d units. Horizontal shift. If in the parenthesis you see x minus c, for example, f of x minus 2, then you're going to go to the shift to the right c units. If you see x plus c in the parenthesis, for example, x plus 3, then you're going to go to the left c units. So it's a shift to the right or left, depending on what's in that parenthesis. If it's outside of the parenthesis, f of x plus d or minus d, then you're shifting it up or down. A reflection over the x-axis.
Why does the plus make it go negative?
So a reflection over the x-axis, we're going to have y is equal to negative f of x. And we talked about this before, in that the negative in front means it's changing all of the signs of that particular function. So it's as if you're multiplying through by negative 1. That's what it's going to look like. It's going to look different in that the entire f of x has been multiplied through by negative 1. Reflection over the y-axis, we're getting y is equal to f of negative x, and that means that what we're doing is we're replacing x with a negative x. For a vertical stretch, you're going to see some constant in front of the function. So it's as if every value, the whole function, has been multiplied through by 2, for example, or by 1/2. Whereas the horizontal stretch, the number that's being multiplied is times the x value. So b is multiplied by x, not the entire function. So what I want to do is to give you some different transformations, and we're going to talk about whether they're horizontal, vertical, reflection, what's happening here, and we're going to take a look at some of the examples and talk about what's happening with them. So the basic function is f of x equals the square root of x. And I want to say what's happening with g of x in relation to the f of x. What has happened to graph g of x or to graph h of x? Well, in g of x, this would be vertical, and we're going to be going up 2 units. Because this is like f of x plus d. If we had an h of x, we have a negative 1. It's not underneath the radical. It's subtracted from the square root of x. So we're going to be going down 1 unit. So you should be able to take the basic function and talk about what's happening with this new function, g of x or h of x. So if you graph one, you should be able to graph the other just by shifting it up or shifting it down. A vertical shift up or down. Okay, let's look at this one. The basic function is f of x equals x squared, which is a parabola. If you see in the parenthesis x plus 1 quantity squared, you're going to take that basic parabola And what you're going to do is you're going to move it to the left 1 unit. This is if it was x plus c, and it's a horizontal shift, 1 unit to the left. If it's an x minus 2 in the parenthesis, this is a horizontal shift, but we're going to go to the right 2 units. In this one, 2 things are happening. Underneath the radical, we see a plus 1. So that's going to shift it 1 unit to the left. And then the minus 2 after the radical is going to shift it down 2. So it's going to go to the left. It's going to be a shift of 1 unit to the left. And it's going to be 2 units down. This one is going to go, because it's an x minus 1 in the parenthesis, this is going to shift it 1 unit to the right. And then it's going to shift it 3 units up. Okay, the absolute value graph is a V coming down this way. So what happens if we have a negative 2? It means that we're taking that graph and we're just dropping it down 2 units. So that would be for this one. If we had the absolute value of x plus 3, we're shifting it up 3 units. And this would be that one. Okay, now we're putting a plus 1 in the parenthesis. If it's a plus 1 in the parenthesis, we're shifting the graph 1 unit to the left. So now the absolute value graph is going to be 1 unit over to the left. If it is x minus 2 in the absolute value, it's going to shift it 2 units to the right. Now I'm only sketching these here for you. Otherwise, we could put in values and make it more accurate, but I'm just giving you a picture of what's going on here. So when you see f of x equals negative x squared, we're reflecting it over the x-axis. If we have a negative underneath the radical, the square root of negative x, we're replacing x with negative x. That means it's a reflection over the y-axis.